Well, welcome back to the Race Exotics podcast. Today we are with SSC North America, and we are in their amazing Tuatara Striker. We're going to do a little ride along, get to know them a little bit, what they're doing, and experience this amazing car. This is crazy. This is, I would say, A, the most horsepower car I've ever been in, and B, it's beautiful. I mean, it's like, the attention to detail is phenomenal. Well, I'd like to thank the sponsor for today's episode. That's Rev Up Energy. They've been a sponsor of our rallies. They've come on our rallies. Brittany and Brandon and Hunter, they're amazing family-owned and operated business. I highly recommend, if you've not tried a Rev Up Energy, to give them a try. You won't be disappointed. So, would love to ask you some questions, and I think one of the biggest questions I have is, how'd this start? Like, what inspired you to go down this journey that is Tuatara?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for starters, welcome to my office.
Thank you.
This is my favorite place to start any day, and kind of like we just did with that fire up.
You probably get that a lot,
Yeah, we do.
everywhere you go.
Kind of like that fire up we did. That's like my coffee in the morning. I love to hear this, and as many years as I've been involved in this project and get to see these cars every day, it never gets old to me. I can't sit at my computer more than an hour and a half or 2 hours without going out on the assembly floor and walking around, and just, I'm getting to live the dream that I always hoped for.
Totally.
But back to your question, how did all this start? And if I back up a little bit, I was raised racing go-karts from the age of 8 till 18 years old. It was just my mom and my dad and my little brother and I. We raced on a national scale and traveled basically every weekend somewhere. So we spent a lot of family time together in hotels and traveling in restaurants and at the track. And in that upbringing, I really learned the attention to detail. I think now that I'm older and I look back on it, it created a foundation of, we were a small family team racing against well-funded large teams.
Right.
Not a whole lot different than what we're doing with this company here.
Totally.
And the only way we could not only compete but win, and we did really, really well, was my dad instilled in us, hard work, attention to detail. I mean, we literally would go out on the track, and if we're traveling across the U.S. and trying to learn a track in one day, because we're racing against guys that have raced on this particular track,
yeah.
This is their home track, he would take a bicycle and cones, like an orange cone, and we would go out and we would learn each corner, and he would put a cone on the corner, and my brother and I had to go hold the gas until we got to the cone and then go through the corner. And if we made it through the corner, he moved the cone deeper and then deeper.
Wow.
And he kept going until we would spin out and spin off the track.
And then you'd know
and
where
then
you're...
he would back it up a couple feet. Then we would move to the next corner. Well, what did that teach me at a young age was that might be 1/10 of a second. Well, that doesn't seem like much, and especially when you're 10 years old.
Yeah.
But when it started sinking in was, if there were 14 corners on that track, that's 1.4 seconds. Well, when you got 30 cars out there, and after qualifying, all 30 were under a second apart, that 1.4 seconds was difference between last place and first place.
Exactly.
And so I think it really instilled in me all the time that you need to really pay attention to details. So as I went through my education, high school and college, and then got into the workforce, I was always interested in cars and doing a lot of side projects. Through high school, I had a Datsun 240Z that I did my own suspension on and put a V8 engine in and stick shift. I loved it so much that I built a second one, and I did them a little different, but not knowing that at 15, 16 years old, that later, things I learned at that young age about suspension and ride quality and handling, I would start carrying on to a much bigger project. But as I went through my college education, I interned with a medical device company a couple of summers, and I was introduced to a technology for the early detection of breast cancer. And through that process, I invented a process for ultrasound that made it a very viable diagnostic tool. And so I ended up for about 11 years. I was a co-founding member of that company for 11 years. We refined that system. We went through FDA approval, and we were working through those the challenges of being a small company competing against the big boys.
Yeah.
When I was in my early 30s, and through the whole medical device company, I spent all my spare hours racing cars, designing things for my personal cars. And so in my early 30s, I had an opportunity to walk away from medical device company. I could have retired. I could have enjoyed life, and my wife probably would have loved it if I did that. But I was just young enough and dumb enough to think that I could design and build my own car.
Yeah.
And so I put together a business plan, pretty simple business plan, and I thought in 3 or 4 years, I could put together full working prototypes, take them to shows, start selling cars, prove them. That was in 1998, and I was way off on how much time it took and how much money it was going to take.
Yeah.
And I started learning how difficult it would be as a smaller family-owned company to compete against the big boys. But things that are challenging like that, and you take so many risks, also become much more rewarding.
Totally.
You know, even little milestones become so big and so rewarding, and you need those wins once in a while to keep you going.
Yeah.
And so here we've been at it about 27 years. This is the Tuatara, which we introduced renderings of it and non-working models in 2010, 2011, and then spent 10 years in development.
Wow.
Why did it take so long? Because we are a smaller company, and we bit off such a big chunk of a project. I mean, basically everything about this vehicle, from chassis to suspension to drivetrain to interior, ergonomics, aerodynamics, everything is custom, you know. And once again, one of those things that it becomes extremely rewarding, because now as we are achieving so many things with these cars, it is something that just helps me get out of bed every day. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited to go do what we do. It's been a journey. I mean, there's been nothing easy about anything we do. But little by little, we make gains, and people are starting to hear about the company, starting to understand our cars. Things
Yeah.
like this. It
Right.
is super exciting for me to get somebody in our cars to experience them for the first time.
Totally.
Whether they're a buyer, a journalist,
Yeah.
an influencer, because I mean, I
Well,
haven't
it's
had
amazing.
haven't had any reaction from you, but
Yeah.
people are normally very impressed and shocked by the ride quality. I mean, we're sitting on 1,800 horsepower
Yeah.
with the windows down.
Well, and that was
you and
something
I are
was
talking.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that, like how drivable it seems. I mean, I'm obviously not driving, but I'm watching you. You're not fighting it.
No.
I mean, like I was a muscle car guy growing up, and a 600 horsepower 69 Camaro I had, like you didn't let people drive it. It was so rowdy, had a big cam in it, nobody
Right.
could handle it. This is like drivable.
Yeah,
You're
And
like,
I mean, you can see I can take my hands off the wheel.
Right.
I mean, it's a very predictable car. I'm actually in manual mode because I enjoy that.
Yeah.
We can put it in auto mode, and this will just go up through the gears and downshift
Right.
itself. And you know, my wife could drive this, and
yeah.
it's very versatile. We took this cab at the very beginning of the project. I started with a buck, and I put 2 98 percentile males in it, so larger gentlemen.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like the way a lot of these high-end sports cars, you were so claustrophobic, and you're a big guy.
I
and
can't
I've
believe
got-
like fully extended flat foot, my left foot's not touching the floor down there.
when you notice we're not touching shoulders,
Yeah.
there's plenty of room, and we're both fairly wide
Yeah.
guys. So it's all those little things that we put into this recipe as we went through the design phase that then produce a car like this. And now I am so excited to get this car in people's hands, get people in the passenger seat, get people in the driver's seat, let them experience it and let them talk about it. Don't go off of what I say or our marketing team says.
You want other people's to be, for sure.
I want them to talk about it.
I will say, like, the attention to detail is amazing. Like all the Alcantara, like the stitching. I mean, it's beautiful. It's artwork. And like, you wouldn't think that that would be the case for, I don't know what the right word would be, but like I wouldn't call you a startup. You've been doing it for 27 years, but you're still pretty low production numbers.
Right.
So for somebody so new in the game of building them, it's amazing. It looks like you've been in business for forever. I mean, this is as good a work as in any car I've seen.
Yeah, there are definitely pros and cons to how I have done this. I had a lot of opportunities over the years where I could have sped this process up. I could have raised big dollars. I could have brought in outside influence, and it probably would have cut many years off.
Right.
But it would have changed the control of the company, how we went through the process. What I had learned from my research basically told me that that's when the attention to detail would go out the window. This is also, I'm very blessed. I have a lot of family that works with me. Both my parents, who are in their 80s, retired 15 years ago. They work for me. My oldest son runs my engineering department. I've got a nephew that's part of our social media team.
That's awesome.
A lot of the guys that work out in our shop are like family because they've been with me for 15 to 20 years.
Right.
So when we have our Christmas parties, I know all the families. I've watched their kids grow up. It's been such an amazing experience. But going through this process like this, we are viewed almost as a startup. Like, a lot of people don't know who we are or what the cars are. But at the same time, you get in here and, like you just said, this looks like a car that's been in production for years.
This doesn't look like a startup company.
Right.
I mean, the fit and finish, it's unbelievable. And that was another thing I was going to ask too. When you guys started this, were you shooting for, because I mean, you see a lot of companies, Kia for instance, I'm not comparing you to Kia, but the business plan, Kia started out with cheap cars, mass production. Ford did the same thing.
Right.
A lot of these auto manufacturers, they started out low quality, mass, like quantity over quality, right? They weren't going for this. Were you shooting for the top of this, or did you have some cars that were like maybe not as specced out or as nice as this, or was it your first car, top of the line? I've never seen your first car.
Okay, so our first car that I designed from 98 to about 2005, 2006 was called the Ultimate Aero. That car, I had actually met Christian von Koenigsegg at the SEMA show in 2005, I believe it was.
So that was like his second year? I think he started 03-ish?
He was about 6 or 8 years ahead of us.
Okay.
He was just a great guy to meet for the first time, very open. And not like we were a competition, it was more like, hey, welcome to the industry.
Totally.
And, you know, kind of like, do you understand how tough this is going to be?
Right.
But he was sharing with me that what they did, what groups like Pagani did, they did their first design car and did like 15 or 20 of them, basically because it's so difficult. You can learn from that process, whether it's the design of the car for maintenance reasons or reliability, or whether it's dealing with shipping cars all over the world and dealing with customers. And so I learned a lot from that and decided, you know, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
So we basically started in the Ultimate Aero. We did 16 of those. And it wasn't a money-making process. It was mainly the value that came out of it was everything we learned through that. There's still some things that we learned back in that day, even though the car you're in today is such, you know, many levels above the quality of those cars. There were some things we learned that carried over in this design. And so basically what we learned from that process then rolled into a follow-up legacy model that we could build on as a platform for 10 or 15 years, but it needed to have a timeless design.
Yeah.
And so we feel really good about this car. I mean, even though the original drawings of this car started 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll ask you, does this car look dated?
Not at all.
You know,
I think it's well, and that's one thing I will say about this and the other hypercars is they're so unique looking that they are all, I think, timeless.
Yeah.
Some of the original Koenigsegg's now that the new Koenigsegg's are out, they've made the old ones look dated, but it's still like, it shows up like it draws attention no matter what. It's like the Carrera GT or even a Ford GT. Like there's some cars that I think are timeless designs, and I would put this in that category because this is not regular traffic. When you're driving down the road and you see this, no matter how old this car is, it'll be 50 years from now, you'll see this and be like, what is that? Or, oh my gosh, look at that.
Yeah.
It's definitely a timeless design.
They're so low and wide.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, anytime I saw a wild car like this, I would stop, I'd pull over, I'd turn around, I'd follow them.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the thought now that I get to drive these basically every day, it's just so exciting to me, and I never want that to become mundane. I mean, it's this is not work, this is play.
Totally. Yeah, the cops are out today, aren't they? They must have heard you started the car up. I think that's like the third or fourth one we passed. So I love all these little things. I mean, like the fender vents. Is that was that on original designs? Is that something you've come up with? I've seen that on another one of your cars when I was in California, or was that still this platform?
That was this platform.
Okay.
That was part of the original designs, and they are, obviously they look interesting,
yeah,
but it is all for function.
Yeah.
These cars, there was so much of the design that needed to be aerodynamic, and there was a big part of the design that was based all around the aerodynamics of the car. And the big challenge, and we work with Jason Castriota, formerly with Pininfarina, and he's very good with artistic design of the shape of the car, something that would be appealing to people, but really good on tying that into the aerodynamics of the car. These patterns here, dual purpose, the heat that is created around the brake package comes up through those, it vents that. As the heat comes through those holes and mixes with the air that's coming over the top of the car, it actually speeds the air up over the car and keeps it attached to the car. We have done, as a small company, probably done more miles of top speed testing than any large company in the planet. We've done so many miles, over 240 miles an hour. And basically with all kinds of data log equipment to verify aerodynamic stability. And the front to rear weight balance and the front to rear aerodynamic balance, we want to see that stay the same as 60 miles an hour, 150, 220, 280. And we have been able to achieve that and come up with a car that, if you ever look at the in-car video of the drivers, Larry Kaplan, who he's one of our customers, and he's driven one of our cars, his car actually, for the top speed records, and he talks about there's no drama. Like, I mean, you literally just go, you know, and so the car doesn't get light or float or chase it around, and that is really testament to the aerodynamics design of the car.
I would say this is probably the most aerodynamic car I've ever seen. Obviously, all these hypercars are aerodynamic to a certain extent, but like that windshield is, the base of the windshield is further away than my feet. Like, this thing is, and I watched a video one time, you talked about how you were learning about the angle of the windshield needed to be as close to the angle of the hood so you didn't have air swirl there. But yeah, I would say this is the most that's fine. I would say this is the most aerodynamic car I've ever been in.
If you look, I know enough about the aerodynamics and what we've learned in all our real world testing that I can look at a car and tell you, is it going to be capable of these really high speeds?
Right.
And you need to see that the windshield and the front hood need to be very, very parallel. And the way it comes up over the car, if your windshield is steeper than the hood, that air is going to go up and it's going to detach at the top, create lift in the rear, and you know, it doesn't mean a car can't do 250 miles an hour, but you're going to hit a speed where stability changes. And nobody would ever want to be in a car that gets unstable at really high speed.
No, you're playing in a world that's They're spraying water on the road down here.
A little sprinkler.
Yeah, no, any of those top speed things, you don't want to mess around.
Yeah.
I got one more question on that before we change subjects. So I've got a go fast boat,
okay,
and they step the hull, and I was told that's to break like surface tension, to where the water's not like a suction cup. Okay. Is that similar to what's going on here, or did I misunderstand what you meant by it?
No, that would be different.
Okay.
We actually, so what you're doing in water, you're trying to make sure that it doesn't suck against it and create drag.
Correct.
When we've got hot air coming through there, we actually have the air passing over. We want it to speed up as it passes over and stay attached. It's almost the reverse of what you're talking about. If we can keep the air attached to the surface of this car all the way over the car, through the ductwork and through all the snake of ducts and radiators we have, this car will stay very planted.
Yeah. So I know you've done some high speed stuff. Every car starts to feel questionable the higher you go in speed, right? Have you guys run into that, or are you running out of space to go, or are you running out of horsepower, are you running out of gearing? What's been the limitation? Tires? There's usually something that makes a car prevent going faster. What is your prevention of going faster?
I'll give you the long answer on that. We basically, to answer your question, for our testing in the last 3 years, we've always run out of space.
Okay.
When we started our top speed testing, we were doing it on open highways where you had 5, 6, 7 miles. It's very well known. In 2020, we used a Nevada highway.
Yeah.
We had some issues with our data capture equipment, but down there, when we had 7 miles, we got to see what the car was capable of, and we were able to bring the car up to 220 miles an hour really easy. I mean, just cruising along, and then 15 seconds of full throttle, full boost to go from 220 to top speed. That was great, and we would have loved to have been able to continue to do that, but there were multiple challenges. One, really difficult to close down those highways, and it took us a year at that time to do it. Now it's even tougher. But it's a 2-lane road that's crowned for rain drainage. And with no shoulders, I mean, maybe a foot and a half on each side. Any of the professional drivers that drove for Koenigsegg or us or Hennessy, anybody, they all would go down that road a couple times and say, I'm never doing that again. Because basically you'd get on that crown and the car wants to chase the crown. And so it was very, very dangerous. So we went to somewhere where you could actually have a bit of a controlled environment. Biggest runway we could find here in the United States, it's 3 miles long. And we get to use 2.3 miles of it for acceleration, 0.7 miles to stop. 0.7 miles sounds like a long ways, but at close to 300 miles per hour, it goes by really quick if you look at the in-car video.
So you're running out of space then.
Running out of space, and now we turned it into a drag race, which was a whole different challenge.
Right.
So we take off from a stop, full throttle, full boost through first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Now we're going full throttle, full boost for like 45 to 50 seconds. That now, you're doing something with a motor that almost no motor on this planet can do, other than, you know, Formula One cars and those types of things. Because you're never giving it a break for corners, you know, where it can gulp some more air and get lubrication. That made it was a blessing in disguise. It made us kind of revamp and come up with a more robust power plant, and now all of our customers benefit from it.
Right.
So we're not done. We have learned so much on the aerodynamic side and reliability side that we're going to continue that. But now it's we've got kind of a parallel path going. This year, we're doing a ton of testing on tracks. And when I say tracks, road race tracks, with all the equipment. And we're optimizing the cars to break lap records for production cars. At the same time, we're working with our low drag cars, the standard Tuatara, to continue to increase our top speed record.
That's awesome. Well, we might want to wrap this up. We're getting close to airport, and my GoPros are not liking the heat. So I appreciate you talking with us. This is an amazing car. I love everything about it. I haven't seen one thing I dislike about the car. I appreciate you guys chatting with us. And yeah, I don't know if you have any last things you'd like to say to the people listening or watching. But
no, I love this opportunity. Like I said, this year we are at a stage where we want to get the word out about SSC North America and our cars and what our cars are capable of. So I am so excited to have any opportunity to get cameras in the car, get people in the cars, so the word can get out there. I want more and more people to experience this and be able to tell others about it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I highly recommend any of you guys that don't know anything about these cars to look into them, because they are amazing. Not just from a performance standpoint, which I've always been performance is number one, then cosmetics and visuals, but this thing's beautiful as well. I mean, this is an amazing car. And it's super cool that it's built right here in the United States.
It's American made.
American made. Doesn't get much cooler than that.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All righty.